So I will likely lose my other channel where I post most of my videos, Nurse Bethany, because I received my second strike this morning. The Greek gods of YouTube, the Greek gods of big tech, the fallen angels of big tech that control the universe. If they give you 3 strikes, at least on YouTube, in a 90-day period, your whole channel and all your videos are wiped out. So, since it's been less than 2 weeks, I had just come off a strike. So now I'm on my second timeout for 2 weeks. I can't post on my Nurse Bethany channel. Which wasn't surprising, but which brought me to start thinking about freedom of speech. And have we ever really had it? Or have we been so lulled to sleep that we just don't usually step up and speak up to things? I don't think we ever truly had it. Not and so it made me wonder, have we just been told all of our lives? And this would be pertaining to your baby boomers and Gen X, my generation. The millennials were taught a completely different history, so of our country. I believe our country is the best, for sure. I believe our founders fled from tyranny. But I believe early on at some point, the Greek gods got in here. And I say this for a reason, because we operate very much under the ancient Greek system. I was looking this up, and it said the ancient Greeks pioneered free speech as a democratic principle. The ancient Greek word parrhesia means free speech or to speak candidly. The term first appeared in Greek literature around the 5th century. During the classical period, parrhesia, free speech, became a fundamental part of democracy of Athens. Leaders, philosophers, playwrights, everyday Athenians were free to openly discuss politics, religion, and to criticize the government in some settings. So a lot of our system operates on that old Greek system, like our medicine does, which explains a lot there. I can't say too much about that. YouTube doesn't like it. And so our Constitution does as well. I believe the founders wrote the Constitution that let's put the Bill of Rights aside, but the Constitution itself is the holy grail of America. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Bill of Rights. It's just it seems to go back to some of that Greek stuff. Now, a lot of people would say, well, what's the big deal? We use their system. Well, first of all, it means that we don't have a special constitution. Now, I believe, as I said, the first part of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence and all that, that's what makes us special. But it's not what's written on paper that makes us special. It's the American spirit, as I've said many times in videos. That's what I think makes us special, that we will, when we need to, we stand up and fight. We've forgotten about that, but there's people doing it. Anyway, but here's my problem with the whole Greek system. You have all your Greek gods that goes back to. All those Greek gods like Kronos and Athena and Zeus. I mean, there's so many. Everybody at some point in history has learned about the Greek gods. So, you should, if you believe in the Bible, you should maybe think of the Greek gods as those fallen angels that were casted out of heaven. That's what I believe they were. And since the Bible says the whole world lies with the wicked one, then, and it also says there's no one that has not been deceived by that wicked one, then it's likely the Greek gods just came over here. And that's why we operate under many of that same system, which would explain a whole lot of things. So I have said in other videos that I'm not going to vote in November. And I don't want to tell anybody else what to do. I just want to make people think about something. If the system that you're voting in has been a system that started out with the founders in good intent, but was taken over by darkness, then should you really take part in it? I'm not telling anybody what to do. But here, Ephesians 5:11, take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness. Now, we've been voting for years because we're told, just like everything else, we've been told over and over again that no, this is this is what makes you free, is going to vote. But if we're voting in a system that's dark, it would and it seems like it obviously is, because not just because of 2020, but because over time we lose more and more freedoms, because and all the leaders we've had, excluding Trump, have been pedophiles, have been our whole government right now is all pedophiles, the FBI pedophiles. And if they're not pedophiles themselves, they're pedophile protectors, the DOJ, FBI, CIA. None of the justice system works for the innocent. It protects the criminals. It protects the pedophiles. It protects the child abusers. It protects the most depraved people in our society. That's what our justice system does. And our law system, at least at the government and state levels. The state, well, I should say maybe, I think even at your county levels in some cases. So, because there's more of that wickedness, there's more that will go along with that agenda. And that is why there's so many people on that same road, the globalist road. Because they're just going to take the easier, softer way. And this is one of the biggest things that has stood out to me, is the Bible talks about how God places the delusion on people. And it says like placing the delusion on them because they refuse to see truth. Or if they do know truth, they refuse to abide by it. So, that should be obvious, because you look at some of the things that big tech, FBI, all these DOJ, that they're just burying themselves, making it worse, making the hole bigger for themselves. And yet they keep on that track, which makes you think, why would they keep doing what they're doing? Why wouldn't they turn back from their ways? Because God has the delusion on them. Basically because they don't want to see truth. So God, like God says in the Bible, just let them, that's why he says, let the wicked be the wicked. I have the delusion on them, they will stay on that path. And then people that do believe in the Bible say that, and they think that's crazy, but that's because God has the delusion on them. Otherwise, common sense should have told many of these people long ago, a year or 2 years ago, stop doing what you're doing. Stop going along with what you know is wrong. We should, if we ever get out of this mess, and I believe we will, the first thing that should be done is Facebook, YouTube, any online social media that in any way suppressed any free speech, they should be not allowed to operate in America. I don't care that we're a free country. We should never be such a free country that we allow in any kind of organizations that are going to go as far as to suppress constitutional rights. They should be removed immediately. And there should be no debate about that. If you're a company that's going to disrespect constitutional rights, then there should be no reason that you should not be allowed to operate in America. No fines, no warnings, just goodbye. Take your policies and your private company and head on over to another country. You can't operate here. I can't imagine, with all the people that have been banned and silenced and had videos suppressed, that many people would disagree with that at this point. That's the one freedom we have, and it's been so taken away. But really, I don't think it's just been taken away in the last few years. It's just, it's been like that for a long time. It's just we've only been seeing it for the past few years. So if I'm right about those Greek gods, and because we've operated under their system in many ways, government system, are the fallen angels, then we shouldn't be taking part in darkness. I think, I've said before, I think that God is trying to get people to see that you have to place full faith on him. And that's so hard for people because there's still that self-will that says, no, this is what we do. Well, it's this system, this world that tells us, oh, this is your right. You have to exercise your right. That's what this world says. What does God say? God says, look to me. And everybody says, well, God uses his children. Yes, God does use his children, but I'm going to say this again because it minimizes God when we just say that he uses his children. He doesn't have to use his children. And sometimes he wants his children to get out of their own way so that he can show his glory. Meaning that if everybody didn't vote in November, and I'm not suggesting everybody has to make their own decision, but I'm saying if you took this view of it, that I'm placing full faith in God, and whatever the outcome is, I trust God, and don't go vote, then that's placing full faith in God. We've never done it. How do you know? Maybe that's when God will show his glory. God always gets the glory. But too often we make it about our self-will. So that's just my opinions. It's going to take God gutting Washington and all of these layers of pedophiles and criminals to ever return to something that's decent. It's going to take that. And the other side looks very scared. They do. They really do. I mean, Joe Biden's buying off the school loans. The debt-free school loans. It's like a payoff any pedophile would give to keep you on his side. Here's some candy. It's exactly what it's like. It's creepy. But the FBI is creepy too. Think about it. The FBI, many of these people were born in America. The CIA, many of these people were born in America. DOJ, and they just trample all over our Constitution. Think about that. That's sad. But that's because more people will follow the path of wickedness. Even if they don't think they're part of the wickedness, they're still willing to just go along with it. And that proves the Bible too, because there's more people that'll go that way. But I think we should think about, have we really been operating under a system that's truly one that should be everything that we were told, at least the baby boomers and Gen Xers were told about what our country is. Because I love America and I am proud of America, but I think we've been lied to about many things. And the things that we were told that make us so free, those don't really work. When they were just words that were told to us, because really the justice system works for the wicked. In no way does the bottom control the top, not at all. And right now, we're under very much a socialist communist agenda, moving more to the communist, for sure, especially with big tech being allowed to do what they do. And we don't have any government, whether it's on the left or the right, that stand up for the right things, that stand up for the people, that do right by the people. None that even have any guts to do anything right. We have a lot of loudmouths that speak all these things, but they don't do anything. They don't do anything at all. They just talk about what they're going to do. It's always what we're going to do the next session. Like I heard Bill O'Reilly talking on Glenn Beck's show today, and he was saying that when the next Congress gets in, they'll have hearings with the FBI. It's like, you know what? I'm tired of hearings. Isn't everybody tired of it? It's just a theater show. It's like if you need to have hearings about what's blatantly obvious in front of your face, then something is wrong with you. You shouldn't be in any type Congress position. But, oh no, this is the way we do things. Yeah, that's part of the problem, is the way we do things. It's this slow process when it's going to help the wicked, but they move really fast when they want to screw over the American people. So that needs to change. No more of these hearings. No more of this grandstanding. No, you're either going to stop talking and do. I don't think the next Congress, even if there is a red wave, and I think that they will give you a red wave in November. I do, because they want to make you believe in the system. they want to pull you back into believing in that system that works for darkness. So they're going to throw you some bones, and you're going to think, oh, look, it is fixed. It works. Look we got all these people that we voted for in. None of the people, even even the ones that are up and coming, if they get any traction, they won't go anywhere. They won't, because they're likely all tied to globalists. The globalists have had their pedophile hands into everything for a long time, so they have a lot of control. As I said, it'll take an act of God to gut Washington. The other reason I think that our system has very much operated under the Greek gods or fallen angels is because look at Washington, even at your state levels, the architecture. It's all that Roman Greek style architecture way back in the day, the gladiator days or whatever they were. So that's the other reason. So it's just everything around us screams that it's darkness, obviously. But I think that it's not just been in the past few years that we've lost all these rights. It's been much longer than that. We just didn't realize it. We don't have a news agency that's truly a news agency for the people. I had some faith in Epic Times, and I'm losing faith in them. Although some of their things are truthful. But a lot of it is actually, but what they're interested in is protecting the institutions. And there are many institutions that should not be protected. They're a biggest part of the problem, like your science, which I can't say really anything about because that's what I got a strike on my other video about. They want to protect the basic construct of the system. No, it needs to all be, no. Because that's part of the problem is, we just fix it. We'll Band-Aid this gunshot wound, and it's not going to do any good. I'm not saying dismantle the whole Constitution, but I'm saying we really should just go back to basically the Declaration of Independence and start over from there. Because we shouldn't be operating under a system that was once under the Greek Roman Empire. We shouldn't. And we shouldn't be taking part in that system because it's likely how we've always been falling. But, further having our country further fall into darkness. But then again, you could also look at it like, well, the Bible does say the whole world lies with the wicked one. So have to try to have some sort of system that works. But we should stay as much away from darkness as we can. And so when we take part in the unfruitful works of darkness, then we likely will not get good results. And sometimes, in order for the game to stop, you have to stop taking part in it. Anybody that remembers the old movie with Matthew Broderick, War Games, it says at the end, after all the nuclear missiles were turned off, the computer realizes the only way to win is to not play the game, because there's no way to win. Well, there's no way to win against wickedness except God. And so the best you can do is stay away from the darkness and not play the wicked one's games. In my opinion, voting at this point is playing into the wicked one's hands. It's playing into that game. So I have full faith that God will handle this. I think God is handling it. God just needs us to stop relying on self-will and recognizing when something is so big, and that really prayer and just walking with God right now is the best you can do, and speaking up and staying away from anything to do with taking part in wickedness. Just because you've been told your whole life, this is what makes you free, go vote, it doesn't mean you always should. Doesn't mean you always should. So I would just pray instead of voting. I'm not telling anybody to do that, but that's my plan. My voting on that day in November will be just praying to God, please raise up something well. Bring us something good. We need some good people. We need the FBI to be brought to justice. We need the DOJ to be brought to justice. We need all of big tech to be run out of here like tomorrow. We need all the news agencies to either start speaking truth or have their channels shut down. Something. We need some big justice. And we need all the pedophiles of Congress, the representative pedophiles, the representatives, the pedophiles in the White House, at the state and at the federal level, all of them, and the pedophile FBI, because if they protect pedophiles, it's likely because they are themselves pedophiles. Maybe there's one or two that aren't, but at this point, I don't know. It seems like all they ever do is they go after the innocent. They do. Maybe every now and then, just to make themselves look good, they'll do something that's a justice thing, but it probably kills them. So I would say take election day and just pray to God that justice comes to all of Washington, to all of DC, to all of big tech, and to every criminal that has been out to destroy this country and take us into globalism. That will be the way I'm voting in November. And just think, if that did all happen and we didn't go vote, that would truly show the glory that God can do, even without us operating on self-will.